Tiende pamozi ni mtima umo. 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 Tiende pamozi ni mtima umo.
Hello, welcome to MTN Teleschool. My name is Anton Samanenga, a teacher of mathematics from Likasa Boys Boarding Secondary School. We are here going to take you through 2019 paper 2, and this episode we are going to look at question 8. Question 8, the question is on statistics, and it requires us to come up with the calculation of the standard deviation, and there also they have asked us to draw the cumulative frequency curve and to find the interquartile range, the estimate of the interquartile range. Now, when you look at the question, it says the table below shows the expenditure of 90 farmers in a particular farming season. And then we've been given the table below, and the question part A states, find the standard deviation. Standard deviation. This question carries 6 marks, and there are other components in this question that you need to know to find the standard deviation. For example, you're supposed to find the mean, and this mean will be used later on to answer or to find the standard deviation. So how are we going to find the mean? In the quest to find the mean, we need to come up with a frequency distribution table. So first of all, we come up with a frequency distribution table. Frequency distribution table, distribution table, and we are going to copy the class intervals that have been given in the table above in the frequency distribution table here so that you're able to follow nicely. So we have the class interval, and this is ranging from 0 less than or equal to less than x less than or equal to 100. We have also another class interval ranging from 100 less than x less than or equal to 200. Another class interval ranging from 200 less than x less than or equal to 300. Excuse me, another class interval 300 less than x less than or equal to 400. Then 400 less than x less than or equal to 500, and 500 less than x less than or equal to 600, then 600 less than x less than or equal to 700, and finally we have 700 less than x less than or equal to 800. So these are the class intervals that we've been given, and we're going to draw a frequency distribution table like this, and we can add the totals here. The totals, that's what we're going to do. Then the next row, we are going to have the midpoint, which is our x, and this is called the midpoint or the mid value. So the mid value, this will be the column for the mid value, and then we are going to have the frequency, that's the table for the frequency. Then we are going to have x squared, the part for x squared, and then we'll have the f times x part. Also, we're going to have f x squared part. Right. So you have to draw neatly in your final exam. In this case, I'm just showing you how to go about it. so that you are able to follow the way we are going to answer these questions. Right, so now you draw neatly. I'm giving you sketches. You're supposed to use a pencil and a ruler to draw this frequency table. Please bear with me. These are straight lines. Maybe you're not just seeing properly. I'm kidding. Okay, so this is great. And the totals. I want you to follow nicely so that you don't lose track. Right, now what are we going to do? What is our mid value here, which should be x? When you look at the class interval 0 and 100, you add 0 and 100 divided by 2, you get your 50 here, and then you get your 150. You get your 150 here. If you add 200 and 300, you get a 250 here as your mid value, and then you get your 350 here, and also you get your 450 here, also the 550 here. I hope you are following. We're adding 600 plus 700 divided by 2, you have your 650 here, and finally you have your 750 here. The frequency, we simply get back to the table that we've been given. The frequency of the interval, class interval 0 to 100, we have 5, then followed by 16. Are you able to follow the table earlier on given? Then followed by 17, followed by 17, followed by 14, followed by 12, followed by 7, and followed by 2. X squared. This is our x. When we square 50, we are going to have 2,500. We square 150, we'll have 2,500. I hope you're able to follow. Then we'll have 2, 2, beg your pardon. When we square 50, we're going to have 2,500, then 22,500, 62,500. I hope you're able to follow that. And when we square, again, we are going to have the same. That's right. Okay, let's do this so that you follow nicely. So 17, again, you have 62,500. Then 14, you have 20, 25,000. Here you have to use your calculator. Then we have 30, 25,000. Then plus 42. When you square that, you have 42, 25,000. And then finally you have 56, 2500. This is simple, you can follow. And then fx, you multiply the f and x. Here you are going to have this f and the x. When you multiply, you are going to have 250. You are going to have 2,400. The power of calculator there is helping you. Then 4,250 and 5,950, 6,300 and 6,600 and 4,550, then 1,500. Now, when you multiply the f and the x squared, you are going to have 12,500 there, then 36,000, then you have 10, 62, and 500. Then again, you are going to have 20, 82, 500. I hope you're following. Then 28, 3,500. Then you have 36, 3,000. And then you have 29, 5,700. 500. Then you have 11,25500. Right. So having done that now, we need to find the totals. What is the summation of f? When you add everything there, you should be able to be given the 90 farmers that have been talked about in the given question. Summation of fx here, you are going to have, when you add everything there, you will have 31,800, like that. Then summation of fx squared, when you add everything there in this column of the fx, you are going to have 140,65,000. Now this information that you have obtained will help you find the mean of the given grouped data in the question. So mean, therefore, which is given by x bar, equals simply the summation of fx over the summation of f. And then what is the summation of fx? It's 31,800, everything over the summation of f, which is 90. And when you divide 31,800 by 90, you are going to have 353.33, but when you round it off, you have 353 as our mean of this group data. Right, from there, you move on now to calculate for the standard deviation. The standard deviation is given by the formula. When you look at the paper, the first page, you find the formula already given. And since most of the work has been done in the table above, what you just need to do now is simply to replace in the formula what is coming from the table. So what is the standard deviation is given by the formula, the square root of summation of fx squared, everything over the summation of f minus the mean that you've already, the square of the mean that you've already found. So we can do like that so that we can be able to work out that problem. Then from there, it's just a matter of replacing what the summation of fx squared. You have 14065 from the graph, frequency distribution table there, 000, everything over 90, and then minus the mean, which is 353.3 or what? Squared. Okay, so when you look at this, you now simplify what is in the brackets. You are going to have the following. Your standard deviation is going to be the square root of 156277.7778 minus, when you square this, you are going to have 124,820. Don't be bothered by the numbers. You just use the calculator. You don't need to be disturbed by these big numbers. Then when you do the simplification there, you are going to have 31,456, then 0.8878. Having done that, then you are going to, when you find the square root of that, it's going to give you 177.360,697. And finally, our standard deviation is going to be 177 to the nearest 100. So that is our final answer for the standard deviation. So much of the work, you are taking it from the frequency distribution table that you had already worked on. And this is where we are getting, for instance, the summation of fx, the summation of fx, summation of x squared, and all that stuff is rightly given in the question. Now that we have found the standard deviation, we now go to part B of this question. Part B of this question is asking us to complete the table given below. And they're saying, using the table below, answer this part of the question on a sheet of graph paper. We'll come to that. But first, we've been asked to copy and complete the cumulative frequency table that is given below. I'm sure you're able to see the cumulative frequency table. Sorry, I'm going to physics now. Amount, we have the amount in quadrature, and also we have the frequency. This is what is going to help us come up with the cumulative frequency curve that we've been asked to find. Okay, so quickly we can come up with that, and then you're able to see that we have less than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 100, less than or equal to 200, less than or equal to 300, less than or equal to 400, less than or equal to 500, less than or equal to 600, less than or equal to 700, and finally less than or equal to 800. Right. Now you need to look at the table again. The first table that we are given. Do we have anything less or equal to 0? No. So we're going to have a 0 here. Again, we make a comparison. Anything less than or equal to 100, we have 5, 21, 38, 55, then we have 69. And they are asking us to find or to complete the given cumulative frequency table. How am I going to complete? How were they arriving at this? These are frequencies. Less than 0 is 0. Less than 100 is 5. 5 plus less than 200, then 5 plus 16, you are getting the 21 there. I hope you're able to see that table that has been given. Then less than 300, you have 17. 17, you add it to 21, you have 38, and you keep on adding the previous, then you have 55, 69, so here you have 81, and then you have 88, and also you have what? 90. So we've filled in the table as shown. Now our next question is question part 2, where they are saying, using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 100 units on the horizontal axis. The horizontal axis is the x-axis on the XY plane. And 2 centimeters to represent 10 units on the vertical axis, which is our y-axis. Draw a smooth cumulative frequency curve. So let's look at how we can scale. When you come to this, you can see that I've already scaled this. On the horizontal scale, we've been given the scale there, which is 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters from here to there is 2 centimeters, representing 100 units, as you can see, and 2 centimeters on the vertical scale to present 10 units, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Now, using the table that we are just from completing, we can confidently begin plotting the cumulative frequency curve. So what is the first coordinate that we are going to plot here? It's the amount versus the number of farmers that we've been given. Don't confuse yourself there. The amount versus the number of farmers that we've been given. So we have 0 and 0 on that cumulative frequency table. 0 and 0 is this point. Then we have 105. 105 is somewhere there. Then we have 221. 221 is 221 slightly somewhere there. Okay, I guess you are able to follow that. We do this. Okay, don't worry about this. We can still draw our line. Great. Then we have 338. 338, this is 338, it's going to be somewhere there. So, okay, we're going to do this again, draw this. I'm just showing you on the graph paper, it will come out very neatly. Okay, then you have 455, 455, 55 will be somewhere there. Then we have 569, 569 somewhere there. Then you have 681, 681 somewhere there. Then you have 788, 788 somewhere there. And finally you have 890. So now my duty is to connect the points on the graph to come up with a smooth cumulative frequency curve. So we are going to do like this, passing through the points that we are going to have drawn. Then there you go, and that is our cumulative frequency curve. When you use a graph paper, the work will come out very, very clearly. Right, now the next question states, showing your method clearly, use your graph to estimate the interquartile range. The interquartile range. Here you need to know that the interquartile range is given by the formula. The interquartile range is given by the formula Q3 minus Q1. So we are aware of the quartiles that makes the same. There are 4 quartiles that are going to divide our graph: the first quartile, the third quartile, and the third quartile. And if we're going to say Q3, Q3 is simply 3 over 4 times the height, the number of farmers given, which is 90. And that one, you are going to find it when you find, which is 70, okay, Q 3 over 4 times 90, when you do this, you have 2 here, and you have, when you multiply that, you're going to have 70 what? 60 something somewhere there. You can multiply there. I'm just showing you how to do it. Then what you need to do is now get straight there, meet the graph, and then go down to take the reading there. This is your Q3. Okay? The Q1 again, you say 1 over 4. Q1 is simply 1 over 4 times 90. So we have this as our Q3. I hope you're able to see. Then the Q1 equals 1 over 4 multiplied by 90. And this is going to give you 20 something there. So you move in the line and meet the curve somewhere there, and you read the readings down there. So this is going to be your Q1. If you have done your work very well, that's why they are saying, show your method, an estimate. The estimate might not be as accurate as you are, but it's closer to what you are doing because of the human error on graph, but on graphs, it will come out so clearly. So what are we saying? What we're saying is the interquartile range is going to be Q3 minus Q1, and our Q3 on the graph, if you've done your work very well, is 490 minus 210 somewhere there, which gives you about 270 kwacha thereabout. You have done justice to the question on statistics, and then you write, just need to move on and look at another question. Right, so the next question we are going to look at in this is question number 10. You remember that before the curriculum was revised, we were so much into quadratic functions. But these questions are being examined in paper 1. In paper 2, we are going to look at cubic functions. And question number 10 is simply based on cubic function. So what is question number 10 asking us to do? We can read through the question. The diagram below shows part of the graphs y equals, let me write the function, the cubic function, y equals x cubed plus 2x minus 1 and a linear function y equals 10x. Right. So that is what we have. And we've already been given the sketch of the graph. There is the cubic function and the graph of a linear function. So in this question, you've not been asked to draw the graph. The graph has already been drawn. All what you've been asked now is to find the solutions using the graph. And this usually confuses most of the candidates in an exam, because when they ask you to say, using your graph, find the solution, others will start using the remainder and factor theorem to arrive at the given solution that we are given. Yes, it may work, but it will cost you a lot of time, because you need to understand that I'm just using the graph that has already been given to me to work out the solution. So usually, the intersection of the graphs, the linear graph and the cubic function you've been given, gives you the solution. Now, let's go to the question that has been given. Use the graphs drawn already on question 10 to solve the equation. So we have two graphs. To solve the equation, what equation is this? X cubed plus 2x equals 6. When you look at this equation and those two which you've been given, they look somehow different. But how are you going to solve them? In order for you to solve using the graph, you equate this graph to that of the original graph. You subtract the two graphs. So you are going to say you have the original graph, which is the function which is x cubed plus 2x minus 1, then minus now the graph that you've been given there, which is x cubed plus 2x. When we transpose this, we're going to minus 6, right? And then when you collect the like terms, you are going to have y equals x cubed plus 2x minus 1 minus x cubed minus 2x plus 6, because now in the first place we equated, now it's coming to the other side. So now you take note of this, we're equating the two cubic functions. Now we are collecting the like term, so we're going to have that. So when we simplify that, we'll find that our y is going to be negative 1 plus 6, and our y is going to be what? 5. After simplifying all this, because this one will collapse, and this one also collapse, so you have this negative 1 and this plus 6 standing. When you simplify, you are going to have negative 1 plus 6, and y equals what? 5. What does that mean now? It means on the graph that is already given in the question 5, move straight where y is 5 and meet the graph, then go down. If I may just demonstrate a little bit here, you have a graph looking something like this. I'm just demonstrating for the sake of demonstrating. and then you have a graph that has been drawn something like this, okay? And then you have a linear graph which goes like this. I'm sure you're able to follow that. Then they are saying this, there is 10, yes, there is 10, there is 20, there is 30, 40, uh, 40 going up there. Then we found that y is 5. You go on the graph where y is 5, go and meet the graph there. What is the reading you are having here? The reading here, which you are going to have, you are going to find that x is going to be 1.5. So when you get this reading, then you have solved using your what? Using your graph. Right. We move on to the next question. Use the graph to solve the equation x, that is part B, x cubed plus 2x minus 1 equals 10x. Right. So when you look at these two graphs, they're simply asking you to find the solution lies at the intersection of the two graphs, the cubic function as well as the linear function. So how are we going to do it? We can still say y, we know that y equals x cubed plus 2x minus 1 minus, we are finding the x values minus x cubed plus 2x minus 1 minus 10x, the actual function that we've been given. Then when you look at this and you simplify that, you are going to find that y is going to be what? 10. And the solution is the intersection of the line y equals 10 and the curve. So when you look at the solutions given there, you are going to find that our solution set, when we go to y equals 10, here now we are going to have the solution, this point and that point. When you drop down, you are going to find that the values of x therefore will be negative 0.1 or x equals 2.9. That is what you are expected to work out those solutions on the graph given. Right, we move on to question part 2. Okay, I hope you are following closely and you are enjoying in the comfort of your home and tagging friends and family so that they can also be part and parcel of this revision exercise. Calculate an estimate of the gradient of the curve at the point 2, 11. Okay. Here again, you need to know that gradient equals change in y over change in x. Okay, so when you pick now the points the gradient of the curve at the point 2, 11, you are going to have this situation and another point 20 minus 11 over 2.5 minus 2. When we simplify this, we are going to have 9 over 0.5, which gives you 18, and our gradient finally is going to be what? 18. I hope you are able to follow that. Now, we are going to pick, we had picked 211 from the graph and any other point to find that gradient, which is 2.5, 20. That's how we substituted in that in order for you to follow. So we are going to just wind up this question, then we're going to go on break for a short break and see how best we are going to move. Right, so now, what are we going to say? They're saying find the area bounded by the curve y equals 10x and y equals 0 and x equals 0. So this makes it very simple for us. B area equals to half times 1 times the 10 that we have. I'm sure you're able to follow. Times 1 over 2 times again the 10 using the graph that we've been given above, and our area is going to be 5 plus 4 plus 5, and our area is simply going to give us 14 square units. Right, so before we go on break, let us look at the last question of this question 10. It states evaluate. Evaluate the integral 3x squared plus 4x dx, and the units moving from 1 to 3. Earlier on in the episode, the first episode, I alluded to the fact that when you are differentiating, the power loses 1. You lose by 1. But when we are integrating, you are gaining. The power is gaining by 1, and the new power is divided by the coefficient of the variable in the given integration. So now what are we going to say? What are we saying? When we integrate this, this is the same as, I'm sure you're able to remember your integration. This 3x squared plus 4x, when this is integrated, we will have power gain plus 1. Then this is raised to power 1 plus 1. 2 plus 1, that is 3. So you have the new power 3 divided by the new power. So you have x to the power 3 plus 1 plus 1 gives you 2. So you have over 2. 2, you have then 2x to the power what? 2. So this is the integration of the integral that has been given there. And now we're going to pick this and put it in here and write it this way: x cubed plus 2x squared, bearing in mind that the limits are going from 1 to what? To 3. Right. Now, what does this mean? This means that we are going to have the upper limit, which is 3, we replace it and subtract the lower limit. So we're going to have the replacement of the lower limit in the given expression. So we're going to have 3 to the power 3 plus 2, 3 to the power 2, like this, minus, when you replace 1 there, you have 1 squared plus 2, 1 squared, and then like that. From there now, when you simplify this, you are going to have a 45 minus, when you simplify here, you are going to have a 3, and 45 minus 3 simply gives us what? 42 as the answer of the question that has been given. So the integration of that integral which has been given gives us 42. Right, for now we are going on break for a 2-minute break. I'll be right back. Please stay tuned and remember to tag your families and friends so that they can be part of the revision. See you.
Okay, let me know how it goes.
I will. I need to go now.
And don't forget to check up on your brother.
Ziba, mami. I will. I really need to go. Nisa Chedwa.
And also wish your dad a happy birthday.
Bye. Ish, my mom. She never stops talking, but I'm not complaining because I love our conversations. And MTN's 777 Just For You makes life and communication so much easier. Especially for a student like me, cause sinisevenza just yet. So with 777 Just For You, I get special discounted data and voice bundles that allow me to do my schoolwork with ease and keep up with the latest trends online. I get to call my family and friends, plus there's also a gift folder. To cut the long story short, I talk more and browse longer. That's my mom. I better video call my dad and brother before class. MTN gives you so much more with 777 Just For You. Enjoy amazing day and night bundles, super fast 4G data bundles, Loco Nilaka, and more. Plus, you also get a special gift from us. Simply dial *777# and select an offer of your choice. Sekelela, we are on your side.
MTN.
Right, so we continue from where we ended, but before we continue, let's go down and check on one of the solutions that we found. Yes, quite here. 490 minus 210. You have to get it right here. Instead of 270, when you subtract 210 from 490, the answer is going to give us 280. Get it right there. That is the correct answer. Right. So from here, now we are going to move on and look at question number 11 in 2019 paper 2. Question number 11. Right. So question number 11 is on 8th geometry. I'll read it the way it's appearing on your screen. The points P, Q, R, and T are on the surface of the Earth as shown in the diagram. So we are on question number 11, and the diagram shows the Earth's surface, and we have points like this, points like this. Okay, just trying to come up with a sketch on this. So we have point P here, point Q here, and this is the north, this is the south. We have point T here, and we have point R here. And okay, we have this also. Good. Now we have want to label these points. We have point Q, point P, TR is the south, and we are told that this is 65 degrees north, and this is 55 degrees south, and we have been told that this is 45 degrees east, and this is 90 degrees west. Good. So you can see, and now the question states, find the difference in longitude between the points T and R. The difference in longitude between T and R. When you see the longitudes T and R, are they on the same side or they are on opposite side? So we are saying, if we are to answer part 1 of this question, we are saying the difference in longitudes T and R will be simply to add 90 degrees plus 45 degrees. Since they are on opposite side, we add, and this is going to give us 35 degrees. Simply that. It's just a very simple concept that you don't need to crack your head on. We move on to part 2. Part 2 states, find in nautical miles the distance between, now we're answering part 2A, P and Q along the latitude 65 degrees north. So we have been asked to find the distance in nautical miles, P and Q along the latitudes 65 degrees north. So we already have the 135 angle that has been found. To find the distance P and Q, we are going to say this is going to be the angle there over 360 degrees multiplied by 2 pi r. I'm using the bigger r because that gives the radius of the Earth's surface, and then cos theta. Replacing in the given formula there, we have the theta, we're going to use the 135 degrees over 360 multiplied by 2, and then our pi we know is 3.142 times the radius of the Earth, that is with a capital R, is given by 37, then times cos 65 degrees. So when you do your calculation properly there, you are going to find that PQ is going to give you about 1,2,3,2,246.906. Everything over 360. That is when you simplify what is given. You can still even use the calculator. There is no harm in there. There is calculators are allowed in this paper. And when you simplify further, you're going to have PQ equals 3422.908072. We are writing everything in order to avoid us landing into premature rounding off. Then thereafter, you can see that we can now say PQ equals 3420 as our distance in nautical what? In nautical miles. So this is how you are expected to move on this question. We can still move on to the next question, which is part B. Part B here talks about also finding in nautical mile the distance between P and T. So PT also can be found using the formula theta equals 360 times 2 pi r. And the r here, we are aware that the r is simply the radius of the Earth. So what are we saying? We are going to replace here, because when you look at when you look at P and T, our theta there we are going to obtain, it's going to give us 120 degrees, everything over 360, then you multiply it by 2 times 3.142, if you're able to follow there, and times 3437. Again there, when you do your calculations properly, you are going to have PT equals 259177.2.92, everything over 360. And when you simplify further, you are going to have 7,199.369333. And then simplifying it further, our PT is going to give us 200 if we round it off, and this is in nautical miles. Alternatively, you can answer this question by saying PT is simply theta times the 60 degrees that is given, and we know the theta is 120 times 60 gives PT, which is exactly 7,200 nautical miles. So that is what you are expected to do under this question, which is on Earth geometry. We move on now to question part B. Question part B number 11 This time around, this question is based on mensuration. In most of the questions, you will find that mostly they will ask you to calculate the volume of the frustum and the like. But this year, they brought up a pyramid. When you look at what has been given, we have a pyramid there that has been given. If I can be able to sketch it so that we're able to follow nicely. We have a pyramid there, which is square-based, and then we have a point like that, then we have this point, and then we have the point here, and we have this point there, right? And then we have this line slanting to the center, and from here we have this, and then we also have this, making an angle of 90 here, and this point is called P. Then we have D, we have C, we have B, we have O, and we have A here. This point is A. This point is P. Now, we've also been given the dimensions. CB is 8 centimeters, and we have 10 centimeters according to the question given there. Now, what is the first question saying? They're saying given that OA, this OA equals OB equals OC equals OD and 10 centimeters. Why? It's because it's a square-based pyramid. That's why we're having these slanting sides equal. And then they're asking us to find the height of OP. Excuse me. Height of OP. To find OP, first we need to find PC. We need to find the distance PC before we can find OP. And this PC is the diagonal of the square base. So we need to find PC first before we find OP. So how are we going to find OP? By Pythagoras theorem, we can also say AC, we can do some elementary work there to say AC will simply give us 8 squared plus 8 squared. And then when you have that 8 squared, this is 64 plus 64, then you are going to have 128. Then the square root of 128, so that we find AC. This and this will eliminate. Then we have AC equals 11.3137085. When you do that with your calculator, and finally AC is going to be 11. Okay, so now we want to find what we've been asked in that question. So we are saying OC squared, then again, maybe let me write it from here. Is there enough space? Okay, there is enough space. Then we can say OC, okay, OC squared will be now OP squared plus PC squared, and this gives us OC. It has already been ascertained that OC is 10 centimeters. So you can see that we are squaring that equals OP squared plus PC squared. And then when you replace there, you are going to have OP. We have 100 here. Okay, 10 squared before we square it. And OP squared plus 5.5 squared. I hope you know where this is coming from. So making OP squared the subject of formula, we are going to have OP squared equals 10 squared minus 5.5 squared. Introducing the square root to both sides, we find our OP to be square root of 10 squared minus 5.5 squared. Then this gives us this OP to be 69.75, and then finally our OP gives us 8.35. This is what we have been asked to do. Right, now we move on to the second part of the question. Now, before we move to the second part of the question, I was trying to ascertain here to say PC is equal to half, then 11, so that you understand where the 5.5 is coming from. Half of 11, which gives us the 5.5 here, because some of you could have not understood where the 5.5 is coming from. Okay. Now, when we move on to the other part of the question, the angle between the edge OC and the base PC. The edge OC and the base PC. We've been asked to find the angle between that. So when you look at that, our angle will be cos P CO equals PC. That's how we're going to work out to find that angle, which is OC. Right. And then this is going to give us PCO equals the cos inverse of 5.5, which has already been found, over the OC, which is 10. And then when we calculate that, cos inverse of this, we are going to have simply PC or the angle C equals 56.6 degrees as the required angle. So everything is coming from what has been given above. We have the 5.5, we know how we found this, and that is the one word which we had used there above. So having done this, you can confidently say, I have got the 12 marks from section on question 11 on the 2 questions from earth geometry and also a mensuration question. We are now going to look at the next question, and our next question is question number 12 in the 2019 paper 2. And this will be our last question in this episode. This question 12 is based on trigonometry. And we have been given, the question states, the diagram below shows a triangle KMN in which KM equals 8 kilometers, MN equals 10 kilometers, and KMN equals 92 degrees. Now, let's just have the sketch of this graph, okay, this diagram. We have K here, we have N here, and we have M here, and we've been given that KM is 8 kilometers, while MN or NM is 10 kilometers, and then the angle in between is 92 degrees. Here, the use of the cosine and the sine rule come into play. But the biggest challenge most of our candidates have is, when am I supposed to use the sine rule and when am I supposed to use the cosine rule? In this question, we have 2 sides, KM and MN, with an included angle. So we have 2 sides and an included angle. We have the diagram given here, KMN. And maybe before we ascertain whether we are to use the sine rule or the cosine rule, we are supposed to understand that the side opposite to this angle M is letter small m. And the side opposite to this angle N will be small letter n. And the side opposite to this angle K will be small letter k. Now, since we have been given 2 sides and an included angle. Two sides, this MN and the side MK with an included angle 92 degrees puts us in a better position that we are using cosine rule. And so we have been asked to find Kn. Kn, according to the diagram, is M. So we are going to say, using the cosine rule, we will say M squared equals K squared plus N squared minus Kn cos theta. And in this given question, M squared, which we've been asked to find, K squared we know is 10, we say 10 squared, plus N squared, which is 8 squared, minus 2 times 10 cos 92 degrees. And then when we simplify that, we are going to have 164 minus 5.5839. That is if we simplify this part. Then furthermore, we are going to have 164 negative times negative will have plus 5.5839, and when we add this, we are going to have 169.5839. Mind you, we are looking for M squared. This means that M squared is this, but we need to find M by introducing the square root to both sides. Then this and this will eliminate. This and this will eliminate. So our M is going to be 13.02243,908. And rounding off to the nearest tenth, we are going to have 13.02 kilometers. So this is the distance between K and N. Or you can just simply say M equals 13 kilometers to the nearest. Okay. Now the next question, part 2, states that we find the area of triangle KMN. When you look at the given triangle KMN, it is not the right angled triangle. And so we are not going to use the area, the formula for calculating the area for a right angled triangle. In this case, we shall say area of triangle KMN equals half KN sine M. And we know that what that means. And what is K? We have 10, and then N we have 8, and then sine M we have 92 degrees. Right. So when we do this, we simplify further. We are going to have 5 times 8, which gives us 40 sine. Let me write it properly. When we simplify there, we are going to have 40 sine 92 degrees. And again, when you simplify this further, you are going to have 39.97563308. Rounding off, we're going to have 40.0 kilometer squared. So this is going to be the area of the triangle KMN. Right. We go to part 3 of this question. Part 3 of this question, they're asking us to find the shortest distance. Shortest distance. we have the diagram there, up, and they're asking us to find the shortest distance from M, this point M, to the point K and N. So this can simply be found by saying the shortest distance, we'll just simply say 2A over B, which is going to give us 2 times the area, this area is the 40, and divided by that base, which is 13, and then you are going to find that when you make your calculations properly there, you will have the area, the shortest distance, 6.1533846154. And when you round this off, you will have 6.15 kilometers as the shortest distance. We look at B. This is a trigonometric equation. B states that solve the equation 2 tan theta equals -3, and then you've been given the range. Theta should range from 0 degrees less than or equal to theta less than or equal to 180 degrees. Right. So I know most of you are so much used to questions that will ask you to solve the sine and the cosine, but this time around they decided to ask us a question on tan. So now 2 tan theta equals -3, we are going to say divided by 2 over 2, so that we have tan theta to be -3 over 2. Now we want to find the angle. And the angle here we're going to say tan inverse of -3 over 2 will simply give us the theta, the angle which we are looking for. When you punch your calculator to find the tan inverse of -3 over 2, we are going to have 56.3 degrees. Now, you need to understand that we only have one solution in the second quadrant. And therefore, theta is going to give us 180 degrees minus the angle that we have found. And this is simply going to give us 180 degrees minus the 56.3 degrees, which finally gives us 123.70 degrees. So therefore, the solutions to this, we have 56.3 as well as 123.7 degrees. We have solved this trigonometric equation. Let's look at our last question in this episode, which is a question which is very simple, but it puts off because of so many things that are in it. It's just a simplification question. And it carries some good marks, 2 marks. The question reads, that is part C, 25 p to the power 4, everything over 7q raised to power 2 divided by 5p to the power 6 over 21q to the power 4 times p over 15q. So, you can see that we are dividing here, and we are going to change the operation here and interchange 5p squared and 21q to the power 4. 5p to the power 6 over 21q to the power 4. So we are going to say 25p to the power 4 over 7q squared times since we have used the operation of multiplication, we interchange q to the power 4 over 5p to the power 6 multiplied by p over 15q. That looks appetizing and also giving us hope. So when we check the diagonals here, we can reduce some of the working here. We know 5 can go into 5, 1, and 5 go into 25, we have 5. Then 7 goes there, 1. Then we have 27 into 21, we have 3. So what are we saying? We have a situation where we have over q to the power 2 times 3q to the power 4 over p to the power 6 multiplied by p over 15q. When you simplify further, you can see that 5p to the power 4 is the same as 5p over q times 3q over pp. This is simple. We're just trying to make it very simple. Times p over 15q. So you can see that this can eliminate also the 4 p's there. And when you work out the elimination there, you end up having, when you simplify further, you will have a situation where you remain with 3q over p at the end of the day as your last answer. So just take time to work out on this, and then it will just come out like that. So this is all what we could give in this episode. We were trying to revise 2019 paper 2, grade 12 mathematics. During this time when schools have been closed indefinitely, we want to urge you in the comfort of your home to tune into MTN Teleschool and be able to revise with us in mathematics. Until next time, my name is Anton Samanenga, a teacher of mathematics from Likasa Boys Boarding Secondary School. Till we meet again, bye, and wish you the best. Stay safe and take care of yourself, and stay home until you are told to get back to school. Bye for now.
Tiende pamoja ni mtima umo. 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 Tiende pamoja ni mtima umo.